Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Geweldig. Lili nishmat simi miros irus pas Mordechai. Realize all the mutimai. So it says in the Mishnah that it has to be appropriate for Azar. It has to be something that you could do. You could sprinkle the blood, then you do kibbutz. Limute, what does it come to exclude? Kibul pachas migdei hazaya b'chli zeh upachas migdei hazaya b'chli zeh. Let's say here's a person. He did kabbalas hadam like this. Whatever the shear is, I don't know what the shear is, but you received in two different cases. Huh? Yeah. You received the blood in two different kalim, and then you combine the two. No, you can't. This Anya, Rabbi Chalafta Bar Sholomer, Kiddush Pachas, what does he say? Rabbi Chalafta Bar Sholomer, Kiddush Pachas B'chdei Hazaya B'chli Zeh, Pachas B'chdei Hazaya B'chli Zeh. This is already, we're jumping, by the way, we could go back and forth. We're jumping now to Paraduma water, Meichatas. And he mixed in, according to the shita that needs it, well, you need to start out with a shear. The sprinkling is a machlokes. Do you need a shear on the person? Not, but to start out with, you need the shear of enough to have enough water to sprinkle. You start out with half the shear. Instead of 10 milliliters, let's say you did 5, and then you added another 5 in another kli, and you put them together, no good. Lo kiddush. So they ask the question, B'damau. That's halacha by chatas. What about blood? Could you combine the two? What's the question? Do we say it's halacha l'Moshe Messinai? And halacha l'Moshe Messinai, you can't. That we all know. Paraduma, suchayk. Don't ask any questions. It makes no sense logically. The guy that's sprinkling, he becomes tamei. The guy that gets sprinkled becomes tart. Halacha l'Moshe Messinai. So this is a special halacha over there. You can't combine two shiurim, two small amounts to make it one shear. What Rashi is saying is midikarinon ba'mayim, because that's what it says in the pasuk. I'll show you in a second. Here we go. It says ba'mayim. You see the bottom one? Ba. What's the difference? And it doesn't say bi. So ba means ba, the water that we spoke about in the pasuk before. Bimayim means the general water. So now let's go back to the pasuk. The first pasuk says v'lakhu. This is the difference. This is the v'lakhu, gathering the water, gathering. And then it says, V'lokach v'taval b'mayim. What's v'taval? B'mayim. The mayim that you, in the first pasuk, in other words, the lekicha has to be a shear. So because it says the word ba and not bi, so I know that you need a shear even by the v'lokhu. Even pasuk Yud Zayin, in the beginning, to start out with, you need a full shear. You can't combine 2 half shiurim. But that's because it says ba. What about bayos? Bayos it says badom. Same thing. I could do the same exact thing. The pasuk vav comes to explain pasuk K, and then you need ba. You need the full shear all the way in the beginning. You can't combine 2 shiurim. Maybe that's the pshat. Or v'taval b'mayim achanami ksiv v'taval badom. So you have to jump to Rashi to understand what's going on here. So what if it says taval b'mayim? And Rashi says ba and bi. Toshma domer Reb Zrika omer Reb Elazar av bedom lo kiddush. That there's no difference between water of the paraduma and blood. You cannot start off with less than a shear and combine the shear later. It has to start off with the right shear. Omar Rava, Tanya v'toval v'loi misapeg. So misapeg means this. In Hebrew they say l'nagev b'chumus. You take a pita and you go like this. There's the v'toval. You sticking your finger into the blood. That's what the Torah wants you to do. There's misapeg, doing this. Gathering from the side of the food. That's awesome. That doesn't work. To gather, when the butter, the cream cheese is on the top over there. No, you got to go into the middle, the center. This is what you need. To stick your finger into the blood. Don't gather some leftovers from the side. Badam, atshiyah badam shir tvila mikaroi. That you have to start off with enough blood from the beginning. Here we just have the psukim here if you want to see. The 3 limudim. V'toval HaKohen says, "Voy badam b'yizam min hadam." So v'toval comes to tell us no niguv of the nose. Badam, you need a shear. V'yizam min. Now we're holding min hadam. Min hadam shebe inyan. Interesting lashon here. That it has to be that every single one of the tvilos of the hazos has to be a new dunk. Interesting halacha. We're going to discuss it a little bit. You can't just stick your finger in and say, okay, I have enough, I'll go like this and like this. No. Stick your finger in, boom. Stick your finger in again. Every one of the 7 hazais that we do in the heichal, a new dunk. You need all the here. So these are the 3 limudim. Says the Gemara, I need all these words. You have to dunk your finger 7 times. It doesn't say that you need the shear to begin with. Maybe you added blood later. It has to be, initially it has to have the right amount. I think, I wouldn't know the halacha. I can't take from the rim, the edge. It needs to be in the blood. What are we already talking about? We just said a second ago. The third limud is min adam. It has to be dam shebe'inyan, like the same blood that we spoke about before. I cannot use the same finger twice to do 2 azars. You dunk your finger in, you do azar, that's it. It's all over. In other words, what does that mean? That the blood on your finger that's left over after you go like this is not kosher for azar. What happens if you touch your beged with that blood that's left over on your finger? There's blood from the chatos. You go like this, stick it in. You go like that, 1 azah. Then you take that blood and you touch your beged, then what? You don't have to do kibbutz. It's not roy for azah, so it's possible. So that's it. You don't have to wash your clothing. It's a different type of blood. So this is what we just discussed. You have 1 sprinkle per finger. Anything left over on the finger is possible. Your Talmud says, in the name of Rav Amram, we have a contradiction here. He is sprinkling from the inner chatos, and the blood spritz from his finger onto his beged. So it says, actually, he's a ton kibus. If you didn't finish the whole, we're going to see what it means. Mishiza in ton kibus. My love, what does it mean? It means actually gomer melahazis ton kibus. If he's in the middle of all 7, he has to sprinkle 7 times. I think we have a picture just here, like this. Yeah? He's doing this in the you see the 7 on the floor? So until he finished all 7, and a little blood got in his garment, you have to wash out that spot. Once he's done, even though the blood is still on his finger, ein ton kibos. So you see that even though, you see that this blood is puzzle. Loi, hachika amar. Actually, yotza hazam miyadei ton kibos. It only means, it doesn't mean all 7. It means from each and every one. Mishiyotza hazam miyadei ein ton kibos. Once in that 1 finger, forget all 7. Forget the end in that finger. Once you applied 1 sprinkle, that's it. That blood becomes puzzle. Like we said. Now we're talking about a paraduma. We're going back to the water of the paraduma. That's what they used to do. I guess there's no towels. I don't know if you ever had the opportunity to wipe your hand on a cow, but I'm assuming, and I'll even show you a little video, some of the hairs are going to get on your hand, the dirt that he lays in the ground is going to get, but okay, you're supposed to take your hand and go like this on the cow. Gomar in, loy gomar loy. So that's only if it says gomar melahazis. When he's done the whole entire sprinkling process, what does he do here? Let's just show you. Here he is standing. Where do you shech the paraduma? Out on the Harazaisim, outside of the Beis Hamikdash, facing the Heichal. So he goes and I love how the AI messes it up. It goes in the ear a little bit. I don't know, he catches it. The point is that he sprinkles towards the Heichal 7 times. When he's done, what do? Then you wipe your hand on the cow. So actually, he's sorry, I skipped somewhere. Gomar in. Only if he finished all 7, then that's when he wipes his hand down. Loy gomar loy. So you see that you don't use the finger, the whole hand, but you don't wipe your finger in between on the cow. So you see that even though you finished doing hazah number 1, you're done. Let's say you went like this. You don't wipe your finger. Why? Because the blood is still good. It's still kosher. And you're telling me that the blood is not kosher. Amalei, no. Gomar, no, you do wipe your finger. So why does it say Gomar and the hand? There's two things. There's wiping the hand and there's wiping the finger. Gomar, you wipe your entire hand, your whole palm, whatever's dirty with blood. Loy Gomar, but if you didn't finish all 7, then you do wipe your one hand, your one finger. Why? Because it's not roy. The blood is not roy anymore. You must wipe your finger. Says the Gemara, when you're done, okay, so you go like this, you wipe it on the cow. Shenemar, because it says in the pasuk, v'sarav v'sapar leinov, es oirav es pirsha, you burn the entire paraduma. So now the blood that you have on your hand is going to be burned. You have something to do with the blood. Let's boy b'mayim kanech. Here, so take a look at this. If you wipe your finger in between, look what's going to happen. It's going to get a little sticky with stuff, and it's going to ruin your hazah. Omar Abaye b'spas mizrok. No, you wipe it down on here, something like this. Just on the edge of the kli, you wipe it down. So maybe that's what you do this might answer what you're asking. Kidduchsiv, kifayre zav. Kifayre zav means the golden bowls, but it's an interesting lashon. It should say kara zav, whatever the lashon is. Why does it say kifayre? Kifayre also means, says Rashi, to clean. It's a bowl that cleans. All right, here we go. Mati, brand new Mishnah, which actually means like a brand new Masechta. You don't have to be here. This could be your first day, and we're starting a brand new topic. Nita zalar. What if blood from a carbon chatas sprinkles on the hide of this animal? There's blood on the cow, on the sheep. The Torah says, yeah. When blood sprinkles on clothing, you must launder the clothing that has any kind of blood from a chatos. As Rabbi Yaakov explained, only a chatos. To try to guess what HaKadosh Baruch Hu meant by that, not to remember the future, but for us, a memory aid. A chatos only, not a shlamim, because you don't want to remember the future. Okay, fine. So, but what if the blood didn't hit your clothing, it hit the animal? You have to clean out the animal. So it says in the Mishnah, Nita Zalahar actually hufshat, when the hide is still attached to the animal, any tongue kibus. So that's a little bit of our sugya. When it's interesting halacha. When you have meat in the Beis Hamikdash anywhere, it can become tamei. If sheretz touches it, the meat becomes tamei, but not the hide. The hide won't become tamei. The hide is protected. Why? Because it's not right to do anything with it. What are you going to do with hide that's on an animal? If it's off the animal, I could fashion a pair of shoes from it. But it's on the animal. And it's not meat. It's not right for anything. So meat becomes tamei, the hide not. So that's what he says. If you already, what's the word? Skinned it, or what's the? Flayed. Okay. Mishahuvshat ton kibus. Once it's off the animal, actually huvshat in a ton kibus. If it's still on the animal and you get blood on it, you don't have to launder it. Mishahuvshat ton kibus. Once it's off the animal, you have to rinse it. You have to clean it. That's what Rabbi Yehuda says. Even if it's off the animal, what is it? It's nothing right now. So that's what we're going to discuss. Is it something or is it not? Or we view it as nothing? Because right now it's just a piece of hide. Do we look at the future? Well, this hide is going to be fashioned in some sort of kli, and therefore it's makabel tuma or not. Says the Mishnah, this is interesting. You don't have to throw your entire beketcha or whatever big dekuna that you have into the laundry. You just have a little drop here, you take it to the sink, or whatever you use, a special chemical, you take it out. It has to be something that in the future could become tamei. But let's say a piece of wood. You don't have to wash a piece of wood. It has to be something that's you're able to wash. The Gemara is going to explain. A leather. It's not just a beged made out of polyester. Thank you very much, or whatever it is. It means, even other materials, not only tzemer pishtim, but other materials as well, such as a leather jacket, you have a motorcycle jacket, you have to wash it. And that's also the Gemara. Yes or no? Is leather something that you wash? Is it something that you launder? And at the end of the day, we're going to see enough community between soft leather and hard leather. Soft is something that you wear, so yes, according to everybody. And hard leather, we're going to have a machlekes. Ma'akivas b'makom kadosh. Where do you launder it? You can't just bring it to the laundromat. You have to do it in the Beis Hamikdash. Ushpiras kli cheres b'makom kadosh. Also, here's the pasuk: ukli cheres asher tevushal boy. If you cook a carbon in earthenware, yishaver, you must break it. Why? The Rishonim explain, because what?
Nicer.
Right. The isser of nicer, anything left overnight becomes aser. So now you have an isser in your kli. You got to get rid of the kli. You got to break it. Where do you break it? Only in the Beis Hamikdash. Ushviras kli cheres b'makom kadosh. Umerika ushtifa b'klina choshes b'makom kadosh. This halacha of shtifa merika, you have the. I'm just showing this to Mati because Mati didn't see yet. That you have to wash out the kli from the blias. That must be done, and we're talking about a copper. That must be done in the Beis Hamikdash. Zevachim b'chatas mekachi kachim. I don't know. I'm not going to argue with him. Zevachim b'chatas mekachi kachim. Over here, there's a chumrah the chatas has that no other, even kachi kachim, other asham, whatever it is, doesn't have this idea. Which one? Kibus, because we just discussed two halachas: laundering a beged and merika shtifa. We're showing the washing. That every carbon has, says Rashi. You have to wash out. And that's why, I don't know but kibus, to launder your beged, the blood of only one animal, only one carbon, and that is the chatas carbon. Minani mili. Beged, ein li'elo beged, minayin l'rabis or b'shushat. How do I know the hide? And that's what we're going to be discussing now. What does it mean? Because if you look at the pasuk, check out this pasuk, because again, if you're going to read the Gemara, it's not going to, but now you understand it, because the pasuk says yiza twice. Asher yiza, it's twice. So from the second time, I'm going to add other types of material like leather. Or actually, maybe, if you're going to add hide, so even if it's still on the animal, it's like clothing. A clothing is something that's mekabel tuma. I've called a royal mekabel tuma. Rabbi Yehuda. So one shita is hide. You have to wash. Rabbi Lazar Omer beged ain't li beged. Now they have a sack. The kol minei begadim. How do I know it means even a silk and other types of material? Hal yeser today. Tamaloymar asher olel techabes. Yochash ani marbe or mishuv. Maybe it means even hide. Now he argues. Even hide, which came off the animal, and it's not even fashioned in a kli. Tamaloymar beged. Ma beged dover hamakabel tuma. I've called dover hamakabel tuma. So Rabbi Yehuda is the one that says haroi lekabel tuma. It's going to in the future be mekabel tuma, and he's learning it's mekabel tuma right now today. So the Gemara says, "My benayu, what kind of clothing, Rabbi?" So think about it. It's a nice thing to think about. What kind of garment or cloth? Cloth, let's say cloth. What kind of cloth right now is not mekabel tuma, but in the future it's mekabel tuma? So there's three answers, very simple, so we could go quickly. They're all the same. They don't argue. Just one adds to the other. One is a tiny piece of cloth that's like a patch for, like back in the day, if you had what?
Small handkerchief.
Not a handkerchief. It's more like a patch, a 3x3. So in general, it's not considered a cloth. But if your mother is the type that she's going to patch your pants with the thing, so now she turned it into a piece of clothing. So before it wasn't mekabel tuma, now it is. Or let's say a tablecloth. Tablecloth. You go to the store. You buy a 15-foot piece of cloth. Now, you can't put it on your table. It's going to drag everywhere. Your wife still wants to cut it down to size. So until you cut it down, it's also... But that's even in a larger piece of cloth. And another shot, the middle one, is a towels bag. Let's say you go to the store and you buy a towels bag that doesn't have your name on it. So it's not finished. It's not a finished product until you embroider your name on it. And it's a big thing because you say, but it's a bag. But nobody walks around with a bag like that. It's only when you finish it and you put your final name. So that's not tamei, and it could be tamei in the future. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, it could be tamei in the future. It's tamei right now, today, even though you didn't put your name on it, even though you didn't cut it, even though it's only 3x3. It's roy in the future. It could in the future. But according to Rav Elazar, no, it has to be right now, today. And if your name is not on it, and it's too long or too short, or whatever, right now it's not Mekabel Tumah. You don't have to wash it out. It's not. You don't. It's not one of those clothing that you have to wash. Omar Abai. Maybe not. Omar Abai. He says the answer is matlas pusam shalish igmenayu. If you have a piece of clothing that's less than throughout Shas, just to remember, shalish al shalish means 3 fingers by 3 fingers. Shleisha al shleisha means 3 tfachim by 3 tfachim. Over here we're talking about shalish al shalish is 3 by 3. That's the minimum of a beged. Even a poor person won't collect something so small. But mandama roy hanami roy. In the future, it could become available as a kli. Di boy choshev aleh. If he wants to, he can think about it. And Mando Omar, Dova Mekabel Tuma, Hamia Labas Kibul Tumi. Right now it's not. So what it says here in the Gemara, more the thing, it says here like this: that if you have a piece of cloth, listen to this. If you have a piece of cloth that's 3 by 3, and in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to use this as a patch for my elbow because I have a hole there. I'm going to use it as a patch. Poof! I physically make it into a beged. Because Yiddishkeit is all in the head. And not only that, I could change something physically. I could say this is not a beged, but right now I am going to use it for my kid's patch on the knee, and I turned it into a beged with my head. Fine. Rav Omar, he's not arguing, he's adding. You think that we're talking about a tiny piece of clothing? I'm telling you, even something chashuv. Rav Omar, beged shechishav aleh l'tzura. Mamish like this, first I have to give a curse to this person, but this is tzura, right over here. This is tzura embroidery, says the art school. Embroidery. So if you have a blank thing, if you saw this in the store, what's the name of this place again? A Majestic Giftware? No. Yeah? 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 Fine. Very hard. It's beautiful. And I love it. This is great. Weeks and weeks. If you go to the store and you just see the blue part, it's not a finished product. You have to put the guy's name on it, the logo, the whole thing, then it becomes a finished product. So up until that point, says Rava, if he thought that he's going to embroider it, so right now he didn't embroider, like Ash used to be the biggest embroiderer in Borough Park. Mandoma Roy, Hanami Roy. In the future, you're going to put the guy's name on it. So right now, it's Mekabel Tumah, because in the future you could do it. Oh. Mandoma Roy, Hanami Roy, he could say, you know what? I don't want to put the name on it. Mando Omar, Dovim Kabel Tuma, Hashtami Labas Kibul Tuma. At the end of the day, right now, it's not Mekabel Tuma. Rav Omar, you have a tablecloth. Even Rashi says it's talking about something that covers the table. And it happens. I know my wife should go to the market. She went all the way to Tel Aviv to find a certain fabric. She said, no, this place is unbelievable. She traveled by herself, the whole thing. She comes back home with more fabric than necessary. You have to go, take it to a professional, cut it down, put a stitch. Until that point, it's not a beged. Man Amar Roy, Hanami Roy. The boy mevatel leila machshavte. Right now, it's not finished yet. I'm sorry, I jumped. I went backwards. Until you cut it down. I'll prove it to you. If you have a tablecloth that you thought about cutting it down to size, it's tar until you cut it down to size. Ein ton kibus. So the Mishnah says you don't have to wash only that area that is dirty. How do we know this? Easy stuff. I'll think that if it dirty the entire beged, a little piece of the beged, you have to wash the entire beged. From asher yiza, only that spot clean it. Yeah, is that the lashon they say? Davar shu roy l'kabel tumah. Stomach Rabbi Yehuda, that what? Again, we have the machlokes now. According to Rabbi Yehuda, if in the future it's something that's available to become tamei, so even now it's mekabel. You have to wash it, even though it's not a mekabel tumah today. Royal kibus, it has to be something that's available to launder. Lemute kli the bar gridu, something that you just scrape off and you don't launder. Echad abega v'echad asak, and of course leather. By the way, this is something special, that this whole sugya is a Shabbos sugya, and it's not in Masechtas Shabbos at all. It's only in Masechtas Zevachim. Remember the Ari bar kibusu, so you're telling me that hide, leather, is something that you wash. Viriminu. I have a question. You have something disgusting on your pillow. You're allowed to take a napkin, a towel, and take it off. Take off the top layer.
Without water.
What?
Without water.
without water. Mekancha b'smarto. Hoysa shalar, if it's from leather, hide. Moizen alei mayim. You can pour water on it. Ashetichla. Now, Rabbi Yisrael, midday raisa, pouring water on a beged is an isser deraisa. Yeah, malabed. If you have a chont on your clothing and you take seltzer, a lot of people in America, seltzer is better than water. Take seltzer, you go like this on Shabbos. Isser deraisa. Could be right if you're makbid on it and this and the right there. That's the worst. But on leather, you're allowed to put water on it. So what does that tell me? What does that tell me? It tells me that leather is not something washable. If it was washable, it would be usr. So how come you're telling me that leather is one of these things that you have to wash from blood? You're right. It's a machlekes rabbanon and acherim. Acherim might be remeir. Over here, our story goes like acherim, and over there, Masechel Shabbos, it goes like rabbanon. The sanya habeged v'asak mechapsoi hakliva or megaroi. Or you scrape it off. In other words, you're not allowed to put water on it. No, even leather you're allowed to launder. Now we're going to have this 4 times. This line, so it's a freebie. Learn it once, you'll understand it 4 times. He says, Rav Chia Barashi said, I was by Rav, Zinin Sagin, many times, have a ki'im nekamei de Rav, v'shachshechelei misani b'maya. I would wash his shoes with water on Shabbos. I rinse off his shoes. Imagine the schos, getting on your knees and washing your Rebbe's shoes with water. Iman, Kirabanan, I heard a story about Rebbe Yashiv that his wife, every time he came back from Ariel, wherever he used to learn every day, she would grab his shoes and wash them down. He always had nice shoes because he was the path of dirt. Okay, Maisa of the Rebbetzin. I called upon him. He would wash. How can you wash shoes on Shabbos? If it's a washable item, you're not allowed to wash with water. Command, Kirabanan, must be like Rabbanan. Omer Rava, Umyiki Lamanda Omer, or Lab Bar Kibusu. What? There's a Rabbanan that hold that it's not a laundry thing. But Ksiva, Habegedoy Shisi, Oya. That's referring to the tzaras. It says Vav Beged, it's talking about you. Even in leather, you wash leather. There's a difference between soft and hard. When it's soft, 100% it's launderable. But when it's hard, that's where we have a machlekes. Here we are, second time. But the shoes are l'chayr soft. So how did he wash soft shoes? Because he had very hard shoes. How's it possible to tell me? So he's not going to argue in himself. But he's saying the pasuk doesn't make sense. Why? Not that the pasuk doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to learn that in the pasuk. That what? You're going to tell me there's a difference between hard and soft in the pasuk? The Torah says leather. And you're going to tell me, no, it only means one type of leather. Not the leather that comes from this and this city. Only that. It's only talking about soft leather. They have to wash. Even leather that comes from overseas, and it's hard, even that needs to be washed. Saras, where does saras on a kli come from? Within. It makes it weak, and it's like soft leather because the area that the tsaras comes out becomes soft, so that you have to wash. But if I have a question, you want to ask a question, this is the question. Is the rakim. You have a soft pillow. 90% of people sleep on soft pillows, unless you're a shteiman, you sleep on a rock or something, or Yaakov Avinu. But most people, soft pillow. Usnan, if your pillow is made out of leather, you let to pour water on it until this thing goes up. But you just told me that everybody agrees that if it's soft, it's considered washing. It's aser. Any kind of washing that you don't rub the two things like this, one against the other, that's not washing. But what do we do with the story? He would rinse the shoes with water. It seems like the rubbing it would be a problem. And yes, if it's soft, it will be also according to everybody. And if it's hard, it's only one shita that would be aser. If you're talking about that, it's the only isser is to go like this, beged nami. Why can't you spill water on clothing? If you're not going to go like this, why is that asr? Says the Gemara, beged shriyasei zeu kibusay. Putting in water, even without rubbing it, that's considered kibus. If you put your clothing into water, it's kibus. Zorak zera pishnalayim. You put a seed in the water. Have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.